Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big East Rewind. I'm Chuck Everson, your 7-foot host from Villanova University, and my partner from the Syracuse Orangemen, number 23, Sonny Sparrow. How are you, Sonny?
I'm good, Chuck. I'm glad you said your 7-foot host because this particular episode, our guests, right, made me feel small.
Yeah, big
Made
guys.
me feel small. And they were all
Yeah,
sitting down
not
there.
not not Alvin so much, but I mean the other
Well,
two guys.
I'll
It's like
six
a
seven,
wall.
you
Is
know?
he?
Yeah.
Well, listen. This was great for a lot of reasons. First of all, um, you know, they all played at the same time, you know. So they got to play against each other during their careers in the Big East. We had the top three teams in this year's tournament represented in Villanova, St. John's, and UConn. And we had them all on the couch at the same time, and not one elbow was thrown, Sonny. No one was
Okay.
hurt, no elbows thrown. It was great. So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it might have been because we didn't have a Georgetown guy in there, but let's leave that alone.
Well, listen, it might have been, but I don't know. These guys, Connecticut and Connecticut and St. John's have got a big rivalry now, Sonny.
I know they really do. They really,
They
really do.
do. And I wouldn't
They're
have blamed them.
spicy.
And I tell you what, Donyell, who was with us, and Shawnelle, and we'll introduce them in a minute, but the two of those guys went at it hard, man, at the Garden, you know? And Donyell got the better of Shawnelle in that one. And that happens. But, Shawnelle took, didn't throw any bows. That was good. And we didn't have to call security in. So that was the good news.
I
Like
do.
that.
If I heard Danielle correctly, he said something to the effect that his scoring record in the tournament still stands today.
I think so. Uh, yeah, I think so. Well, all the games weren't in the tournament that he had. I mean, it was the one game, but he set a
He
record.
put together a run though, you know.
He was 30 for 30 on the foul line in two games. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Syracuse knows about shooting fouls, don't they, Sonny?
Yeah, when he said he shot 20 for 20 or 30, I was like, I don't think we've seen 20 for 20.
Yeah, and we had our guy Jimmy Lee wrote a book, 15 feet
15
for
feet for
free,
free.
15 feet for free. So, you would think some of these guys at Syracuse, your buddies up there would, check out the book and maybe, work on some stuff.
Hmm.
It's been tough. It's been tough over the years. They got better this year though, with on the foul
Well, it
line.
was tough there. The Houston game, we have Houston on the ropes. We missed 17 free throws,
Oh boy.
lost by four.
Well, I can't talk. Villanova did not shoot the ball well from the
It's a
foul
tough
line
one.
in
It's a
St.
tough
Mary's.
one.
Not easy.
It seems like it
So,
just got contagious.
so without any further ado, we have another Big East, two of them. We have two more Big East legends
Yes,
on the
we do.
program. Both named Big East Legend 2026. The first one, he's been on the show recently and then came back and joined us in the city. Donyell Marshall from UConn, one of the best players to come out of UConn. Came in as a real skinny dude and wasn't really, he kind of stumbled around a little bit, and then all of a sudden became the great Donyell Marshall, Big East legend Donyell Marshall.
6'9", 175. Let that sink in.
Yeah, let that sink in. Right. That's what he came in as. He didn't leave that way, that's for sure, And next to him on the Big East Rewind couch, the nice leather couch that we had,
The
Sonny.
Big East Rewind.
The only thing that, the if you had to nitpick a little bit, Sonny, none of the furniture matched. We would just, whatever we took whatever we got. But
Now, as a guy, it matched to me.
yeah, right, right. I don't really care either. I sit on as long as I can fit in it, I'll sit on it.
You know what?
That's
It
it.
was plenty wide enough. It was plenty
Oh
comfortable
yeah.
enough. It fit. It
Oh,
would fit in my living
I
room
sunk
any
right
day.
in. I sunk right in. I was very comfortable.
You,
So,
you
and
picked on the
this next
colors.
guy, this next guy, is he's a big proponent of the St. John's University basketball program. He's kind of their Sonny of Syracuse or their Chuck of Villanova. Shawnelle does that for the alumni at St. John's and does a good job. And he's got a podcast called Storm NYC, which is really good. You should check that out.
Yep,
Great. Shawnelle Scott, ladies and gentlemen, is with us. And Shawnelle and I have gotten to be pretty good friends since he's been on the show, Sonny. I don't know if you know that.
I do.
We've gone back to um, our spot with coach that we took Coach Lou. Well, we tried to take Coach Lou to lunch, and he wound up paying for lunch. But we
Shawnelle's
went back to that spot with Shawnelle, and we had a great time there.
he's got personality, man. I love him.
Oh, he does. He's great. He's great. And my main man, also a Big East legend, 2026, coming out of Villanova University. My main man and represented also the Toronto Raptors for a long time, both as a player, a coach, and a broadcaster. The great Alvin Williams joined us on the show today as well.
And he's got his own podcast too.
He does, and Checkpoint, I believe it's called, and check that out too. All the podcasts that we just mentioned, you can get wherever you get your podcasts from. You can check them out. And we don't. Everybody is. We try to foster that we broker that relationship with these guys, even though they're doing stuff like what we're doing. We want everybody to have success and have fun, and you should be able to check out all these different podcasts. Everybody's got their own niche, and and they're good. I mean, I've seen a couple of Alvins, and I've seen a couple of Shawnelle's, and those guys are really good. And Shawnelle's thing is they go live. They get their guests and go live, not like us, Sonny, on a Zoom. They go live about it. So
Gotcha.
anyway, so check those out. And before you do that, check out the Big East Rewind with Donyell Marshall, Shawnelle Scott, and Alvin Williams right here, right now. Hello and welcome back to the Big East Rewind. We're here at Macy's Herald Square for the drop of the starter jacket, Sonny, the Beasts of the East. I am your host, Chuck Everson, and my partner, as always, Sonny Sparrow. How are you, son?
I'm good. Look at the guests we got right now.
It's unbelievable.
This is pretty spectacular.
An all-star team.
On one now,
and from
not
three
long
different
ago,
teams.
they would be ready to kill each other, right?
Right. It wasn't
Here we
that
are,
long ago. Right.
Everyone's friends.
Exactly. Well,
Great moment.
we're going to find out. Two of them might not be friends. Maybe they are. I don't know. We're going to find out.
Might be a little friction. All right.
We're going to find out.
Fair enough.
All right. So without any further ado, our first guest representing the home team of St. John's, Sonny. The home team of St. John's, and he's the host of Storm NYC, which is a great podcast.
Yep.
All about the St. John's program. This guy does a great job. And he was on the show. He's a guest of the show. All of these guys have been on the show. And he's one of the guys that I've stayed in touch with after, and we've been out for lunch and socially and everything else. So my good friend, Shawnelle Scott, joins us. How are you, buddy?
What's up? Is this on?
There you go. There you go. Now you're good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in.
Good to have you.
Yes.
And now, Sonny, two current Big East legends, both being honored tonight as Big East legends, and both very well deserved. So I'm going to save the Villanova guy for last, son.
Okay.
We're going to go UConn, okay? So representing the UConn Huskies, he's the current right now. His show that he did with us is on right now for the Big East Rewind. And here he is back again for round two. The great Donyell Marshall, Big East legend Donyell Marshall. How are you?
I'm good. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on, especially so soon.
Yeah, listen, man, we had such a good time with you last week. So I'm glad that you can come by in person and see our beautiful studio here in Macy's Herald Square. They do a great job. So now you know it's not just two guys in their kitchen and their garage. We do this at least once a year. Not like Shawnelle, who goes to other people's places and sets up shop. We, every once in a while we get to do fun stuff like this. So thanks for coming in. And finally, last but certainly not least, my guy from Villanova, yours too.
Yep.
We met him. We met him at the. You met him at the Syracuse Nova game years and years
I was
ago.
with my son. Yeah.
Also a Villanova legend, but now officially a Big East legend, the great Alvin Williams from Villanova University. How are you, Al?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, man. It's been a minute, and I appreciate you coming out. As always, we look out for each other when you wear the V, and I appreciate you doing that, man.
Thank you.
So for Donyell and for Al, talk about what it's like to be honored as one of the Big East legends. And we've had a few guys that have gone through it. You know, we had Eric Smith on earlier, and we had Eric Murdoch on. And, you know, I would love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are on being nominated as a Big East legend.
I think for me, it's a great honor. You know, it still lets you know that the school and the conference is still thinking about you, you know, 30-something years later. You know, for me, like I coach AAU young kids, and, you know, a lot of those kids don't know who I am, right? They after they hear my name, they go and they Google, they look at film. You know, some of their parents, they do and they don't. So to be able to get recognized and to be able to bring back memories. You know, my daughter was here. She hasn't seen all this stuff. So for her to be able to see stuff like this, you know, but it also is to be able to, you know, see Al. You know, Al and I played together in Toronto. We played against each other in Villanova. You know, to be able to see Shawnelle again, to be able to see guys that you really don't get a chance to see a lot, you know, and reconnect and exchange phone numbers. I think that's what's just as important as being honored.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, if you can't have friends after you guys have gone through what you've all gone through, all of us, you know, we're out there beating each other up, and all of a sudden now, you know, good buddies and stuff like that. It's great. How about you, Al? What do you think?
Same as Donyell said. It's an honor just to be acknowledged. You get to our age, and, you know, acknowledgments, they fade away a little bit. So it's always good to be reminded. But growing up in Philly, the Big East was everything to me.
Yeah.
And just being able to get a scholarship to a Big East school, and then playing, and then having a level of success, and then being recognized years later. Again, like the Big East, growing up watching Georgetown, John Thompson, and Reggie Williams, and Patrick Ewing, and then getting a chance to battle against these guys, man, that was big time. So it's an honor.
But how did you find out? Were you contacted by someone from Villanova, someone from the Big East? How did you get notified?
Baker Dunleavy, our GM at Villanova, reached out to me and told me, and then was asking my availability and all that stuff. But Baker Dunleavy reached out and told me that I was looking to be honored.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel?
I think for me it was Tommy Moore reached out to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Great
he
guy.
is our GM also.
Right, he's a great guy.
You know,
He's
he
great, yeah.
reached out to me, said the same thing, availability, said it was going to happen, and you know, I made sure that I was going to be available, you know, whenever this was going to happen.
Yeah. So talk about, you know, Shawnelle, you in particular. You know, you played here at St. John's. You played in the Garden millions of times, okay? Now we come to the Big East tournament. You got to feel like you're playing in the home crowd. I mean, obviously, you know, I mentioned it earlier. We had Peter Fichette on, and he was involved with the Big East from the beginning. He was in the original crew that worked in the office, and his job was to separate certain teams' fans from one another so nobody killed each other during the games, you know? So talk about playing here at the Garden in the Big East tournament versus the regular season. Do you see any difference, or is it the same? Talk about that.
As a native New Yorker and playing at St. John's, and St. John's been our home team, I can't even describe in words like how special it was to just play here in the home games. I mean, I'm from 5 miles up. My little brother's here right now. I mean, all my friends, and it was almost like you couldn't have a bad game, you know,
Right.
and that's the way I took it. I mean, you didn't want to have a bad game.
A little extra
You know,
pressure.
people will let you know. And so it was so special. I can't, there's no words. But I do think for the Big East tournament, it's a little different based on just because of the fans and how tickets are allocated, and it's not like all your fans and everybody's divided up, and it's a little different, but it's still special, and you still want to perform and you still want to have a great outing. I mean, playing against these two legends right here was kind of hard, you know. These guys are special basketball players.
We're gonna talk about how
Yeah.
hard that was in a
But the
minute.
stakes are a little higher.
But
right?
it's a little different. It's just a little bit different. I don't know how, you know, championship game. I've never been in a Big East championship game, but I know I was here last year for my first Big East championship game, just watching as a
Right.
you know alumni and a fan. It was it was ridiculous, you know. So I guess when it gets to that point, you can really feel it. The home, you know, being a home, you know, team. But other than that, I think it's just a little different from the actual regular season games.
How about you, Donyell, playing in the Garden? I know you have some fond memories, and you know one of them.
Special moments,
Unfortunately, he's my buddy now, so I could break his chops a little bit.
I
but
remember that game. Too.
I'm sure you do. So talk about that for a second. Playing at the Garden, and you know the one or two times that you played against Shawnelle. What happened?
You know, obviously playing in the Garden in college was something special. You know, and I think that the games against Shawnelle, you know, was good battles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it wasn't like they were blowouts or anything like that. They were close games. You know, good thing I was in a groove the first game. You know, 20 for 20 from the free throw line and was able to get 42, but they made me work all 42. You know, and then in the tournament, it was even more special. You know, to get 42 in that game, and I think today is still a record for most points in the Big East tournament game. You know, it just brings out something special, right? Like at that time when you're in college, you know, yes, we're a college team, but you're like, I think sometimes when you play in the Garden, you're like, this is where the Knicks play, right? So it's like you got to feel like you're special because the Knicks play, and you know, you that's where you want to be, right? All our goal is to make it to the NBA. So you're like, if I can play in this gym, I can play in any gym if I can get to that level. So I think that's the feeling that we all had when we played in those games.
That's a good point. Nobody's ever said it like that. If I can play here, I can play anywhere.
Chuck, I didn't know
That's
it was
cool.
that bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
Little Frank Sinatra, man.
Yeah, listen, the only reason why I know is because he was just on last week how bad it was. He went, but in 2 games, he was 30 for 30 from the foul line. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
He was angry at something. He was angry
you,
at something.
Oh,
Can we-
I
It
wasn't
know,
me. It
I
wasn't
know.
me.
Can we
I know
hire
it wasn't
you
you.
at
No.
Syracuse? Can we get you at Syracuse for our free?
Well, I was supposed to go to
specific.
Syracuse. That's where I was
Right.
originally supposed to go.
No, but I mean now.
Now,
Like right now.
you know what? I had a head job at Central Connecticut, and I'm not saying I wouldn't want to be a head coach again, but what I found out is I think I'm a really good assistant. I think I'm really good.
How
Like
about just a
I would
consultant?
I would go there. Like I love the college game, you know, and I would love to get back into it if I could, you know. And right now, like you're filling her out and seeing who gets what job, and if you have any connections and stuff. And
There you go.
if I do, you know, hopefully I can get a chance to get in there. But you know, the thing about the stories here is like, even though I played well against St. John's that year, is like I had a bad loss to the dude on the end of the couch, though. You know, we were the number 3 team in the country, and they upset us at Villanova. Down there, so it's a lot of battles and animosity on this couch right now. But that's the thing about 30
That's
years
that's
later.
what really
the
what it's
beauty
all
of the
about,
Big East,
right?
though. That's
Exactly.
the beauty of it.
Yes.
You know, you guys are rivals. You played at the same time, you know, basically, and played against and with each other, I'm sure, and other things off the court. Talk about what rivals that you had at Villanova that gave you a hard time.
Man, it seemed like every team was a rival. Like you said, UConn, when we beat them, and they were 3rd in the nation, I'll never forget, we were watching tape after that, and we rushed the floor. And Coach Lapis was like, you know when you're a good team? When you lose and the other team rushed the floor. So
Right.
that humbled us, and that let us know, like, we still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But every battle in the Big East, again, like that was a dream come true. St. John's, it was about. I remember we played first at Alumni, right? That's in your home, on campus, and I remember playing in that gym, and that is experience. And just being a freshman playing against these guys, I was young, out of control, not knowing what to expect, and just going with the flow. So, but just Villanova in itself for me, that's where I grew a lot of close relationships. Jason Lawson, Jonathan Haynes, Chuck Cornigy, Eric Ebers, Kerry Kittles. These guys, like, it was just amazing. So I can't pick one team, but it was always fun playing against UConn. It was always fun playing against St. John's, Georgetown's, the teams that I looked up to growing up. So I can't pick one team, but Big East basketball was just the best.
It's interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Sonny.
No, I was going to ask I want each of you guys to answer same question. As it relates to your coach in college, right? Because we've talked to, I think, all of your coaches on live, but what impact did they have on you basketball and then as an adult man, right, in your life? What impact did they have on you?
I think for me, the impact that Calhoun had was the love he showed. It taught you that, you know, even as a man, right? I think a lot of times as a man, we're told that we can't show emotions, right? We can't cry. We're supposed to stick through everything, right? And so I remember my sophomore year, we were 15-13, right? We didn't do well that year. And after the season was over, we lost the first round of the NIT, and season was over. We're in the locker room. We're like, we're glad this season's over. We're done. And Calhoun came into the locker room after the game to speak to us, and he was crying. And we all looked at each other, and we all, as players, and because we knew we had no seniors next year, it was just all juniors. We were leading, and we said we're getting back into the gym tomorrow. And I think that's why we had the success we had that year. Is like when he showed us the emotion he showed, we knew that we could have emotions, and it helped us out. And I think it really helped us as men, right? Because even with the way I coach and the way whatever, I tell my kids, like, don't be afraid to show emotion. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable. And I think sometimes we're lost with men. We're not able to, we're always told not to do that, right? So I think those are the lessons that he's able to teach me.
Yeah. How about you, Shawnelle?
I mean, I was really lucky. I mean, well, I had Brian Mahoney for 2 years, and he was great. I mean, just truthful and honest, and just a good person. But you know, Louis Carnesecca, I mean, one of the greatest men I've ever known, and I think the best thing he instilled in me is humility, and just, you know, not thinking that you're better than somebody else and treating everybody with respect. And I coach high school basketball right now, and it's the humility factor. It's what, you know, what gets you over. You know, you know, I could relate to like Zuby, you know, Zuby Ejiofor, like just his humility accomplished so much, but he's just like the same down-to-earth guy. So humility is what Carnesecca instilled in me, and I think it's the best thing that I have, one of the best characteristics I have right now.
I think for me, Coach Lapis, Steve Lapis, he showed me it's something else. It's something more. Anytime, like whether it was conditioning, whether it was just the hard times getting through anything, coming in as a freshman again, you never knew how hard you had to play. You always thought you were playing hard, you thought you were running fast, you thought you were doing the right things, but it was always something underneath all of that. So just going to Nova and playing for Coach Lapp, that taught me how to get, and I think he got the best out of me. He learned how to get the best out of me. So that was something that I enjoy, because now moving forward in life, I always feel like it's something else. Even if you get to the top or the highest, or you get to that exhaustion point, whatever you're doing mentally, physically, it's always something else. So learning that in college under Steve Lapis was something that I took away from college.
It's amazing how much influence a good coach and teacher, like coach, you know, like coach. I'll use Coach Mass for my example, but it's amazing how much influence they have on you in your life. Because when you're coaching kids, and when you have your own kids and you're talking to your kids, you're raising kids. I hear two voices. I hear my dad and I hear Coach Massimino. You know, I'm saying stuff and I just start laughing. I go, holy shit, that was Rolly's thing. You know, what was your welcome to the Big East moment, you know, in your career at UConn, St. John's, and Nova?
Got to get Shawnelle first.
Yeah, well,
can I see that face?
Yeah, you're thinking. I could see it. You could see it on your face.
I would say mine, welcome to the Big East moment, was I think my freshman year, Rob O'Dan got hurt, and I had to start this one game at the Garden against Alonzo Mourning.
Oh boy,
and Dikembe Mutombo.
And Dikembe,
yeah.
And
two Hall of Famers.
I could tell you right now, I didn't get that much sleep that night in any way. Just thinking about what was about to happen, and I was, you know, a lot of nerves. These guys going to try to embarrass me. I had to I mean, we won the game, so that was a good thing. But that was like my welcome to Big East moment. Elbows everywhere. I could say that.
How about you, Al?
Man, my first game was against my childhood idol, John Thompson. It was Georgetown, and it felt like I was standing at half court, and everybody was just running around. It was the fastest game I could, and all I just remember hearing John Thompson's voice, and he wasn't even coaching me, but I just remember that's what John Thompson sounded like. Like I really looked up to Georgetown and John Thompson. People used to say my pop looked like him. So everybody, when I was a kid and my pop went to all my games, they thought John Thompson was recruiting me, but it was my dad at the games. They thought he was recruiting me since I was like in 8th grade.
That's funny.
But yeah, playing against Georgetown, that was my very first Big East game. I think I had 2 points, but the speed of the game, the physicality, the intensity, and just John Thompson on the sideline yelling and barking and just his voice, that was my welcome to the Big East
that's
moment.
interesting to me. A kid growing up in Philadelphia grows up a Georgetown fan. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely.
How did that happen? Before I
Everybody.
get to Donyell,
Honestly,
well, I think
man,
everybody. I think you're right.
every
Everybody
black
was
kid,
good.
every black kid from the city loved
Yeah.
Georgetown. Like that was just what it was. I think, and again, they had a black coach, influential, a figure, and I think we all
Strong.
related to that. And I
Strong
think it was something.
personality, strong.
Yeah, it was just they had the best to me starter jackets. They had just everything.
Yeah,
Like,
we're
I
gonna
heard
get
you
into
talking
that.
about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sneakers and all that, but John Thompson and Georgetown, that was it for me.
It's interesting because, like I said earlier, Pinckney had a pair of the Hoya sneakers, but wouldn't dare wear them around us, But he had
better
a.
not.
What was yours?
What's amazing is all three of our stories is against the same team, right?
Well, you know what? It is and it isn't because they were that good back then.
Yeah.
I mean, when we
That's the
played
biggest
them,
compliment, right?
and when Sonny played them, and when you
Same
guys
thing.
played them, they were stacked.
Yeah.
They were stacked. So, go ahead.
So for me is again playing Georgetown, and like I said, I was the same height I am now, but I was 175, 185 pounds then. Georgetown, they played that zone a lot of times. I cut across the middle and cut down the lane, and Alonzo elbows me in my chest. And I fell straight to the. It's a miracle I didn't get a 3-second call. Like I fell straight to the ground. I was just down for a little bit. I knew I had to get out the paint, but just cutting across that lane and getting that elbow from Alonzo was the very first time. Was like, do I belong in this conference or not?
So he got a welcome to the Big East greeting.
A meet and greet. That was a meet
greeting.
and greet. Yeah. That's how we teach that. That's called bumping the cutter.
Yeah, that's what we
that's
tried.
the
That's what
polite
we did.
way of saying that.
That's
But
what Bernie was
that was a
talking about all the
typical
time.
night in the Big East. It still is to some degree, but I mean, back in the day, it was not for kids, man. Coming through that lane, whether you're a guard and you're trying to get to the hole, or whether you're a big and you're trying to run the play and flash, you're getting lumped up.
I mean, Shawnelle can tell you this. Obviously, he had to guard him. But, like, I remember on my recruiting visit to Pitt, and they were playing Georgetown. And I sat there, and I looked at Alonzo Mourning's calves. And I turned to my buddy, and I was like, this is who I got to go against. Like, just looking at his calves. I didn't even look at his talent or anything else. Just looking at his calves. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this.
That's another first.
Right.
185.
Right.
Nobody's talking about somebody's gaps.
So, because you mentioned the starter jacket, what is your guys' starter story? We've asked this question of everybody based on the fact that they've been so generous to us and helping us out here, starter. What's your starter story? When you got your first, go ahead.
I have one. You guys I hope you don't laugh at this, but my first the starter story is I was a big Ralph Sampson fan who went to Virginia.
Yeah.
And for maybe a year or two, I used to beg my mother to buy me this starter jacket. I wanted the Virginia starter jacket. He was like this idol. He was my idol at that time. And my mother, it was expensive. It was like $100, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little less. And she saved money and she bought me my starter jacket. You couldn't tell me nothing. I'm 13 years old. I'm going to school. I'm in middle school. I get to the bus stop, and I got robbed for my starter jacket.
Really?
And this is the first time I donned the starter jacket since then. So I'm very excited about
Be
that.
careful walking out the door.
I
All
will.
right, we got to get you a
Now I'm a
latch
little
or something.
bigger now, and I'm a little.
Yeah, you can handle yourself. I don't think
it's
anybody's
like
going
I'm
to
a
mess
brother
with
out there. So, but it's special to me. The starter brand has always been special to me.
Get you a little luggage lock. And
you. Okay, Al. So tell me about your Georgetown starter
That's the best
jacket
one I've
that you
heard, by
had.
the way.
So I wasn't like you. I was scared to get it because they was taking starter jacket. No matter what, if you had
Right.
the right, they was snatching those starter jackets. We had an area called Broad and Alany where it was like the bus
Yep.
central. You go everywhere around the city. So you go up there, you go anywhere, they snatching that starter jacket from you. So it wasn't until I got to 8th grade and had my first starter jacket, but it wasn't a satin one. It was a wool body with leather sleeves, so it was a varsity.
Oh, varsity
Oh.
jacket.
I'm outside
Varsity?
playing
Nice.
football one day, and the cat ripped my pocket.
Oh.
And my mom was a seamstress, so she tried to sew the pocket back on, but it wasn't the same, man. But that was the jacket. I got that jacket, and that joint might have been $200. That was one of the best jackets I ever had in my life. But that was my Georgetown starter jacket. But I wasn't getting the satin ones because they was taking them.
For me, so I got lucky. I think if I remember, Starter is a Connecticut-based brand. Their headquarters was in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So I actually think the NCAA looked into it for a little bit because they sent the basketball team, they sent us jackets. UConn jacket. We had the long winter jackets.
Oh wow!
Oh, hold on.
We had
We got to call the authorities.
we had the big ones with
We're
the pocket
stripping
in
you.
the front.
We're
Wow.
taking away that. Guess what? So you guys beat them then.
So, because we had a lot of guys, we had 8 freshmen that year, and we had a lot of guys that were from out west, down south. So they didn't have
Right.
winter coats or anything like that. So Calhoun obviously worked his magic. We got some starter jackets that freshman year. We walking around campus, we thinking we big time because we had them and stuff. And it was like, but those are the best. But for other than that, I think my first real starter jacket that I bought myself, I think everybody had with the Charlotte Hornets, right? Everybody had the Charlotte Hornets stuff
Yeah.
back in the day.
Come
so
to
I
think of
it's
it,
the first one.
that's pretty true. Yeah, yeah. The color schemes were pretty cool.
Yeah.
back in
They
the
were
day.
different.
Yeah, for sure. So, talk about now. You guys are now moving up the food chain. You start out as a freshman. This year, the way basketball is now, it's a little different. You guys, and I know Al for sure, because Hal and I have been close for a number of years. Okay, but talk about the camaraderie you had with your guys and how that's affecting now with the way the current environment is in college sports and particularly basketball. At Villanova, it doesn't matter when you played, and I know it's similar at UConn as well. It doesn't matter when you played, as long as you played. Like, I'm friends with Al. I'm friends with guys 20 years younger than me, 30 years younger than me, and it's like we played together when you get together. Now, Al's been down to Florida with us, right? Nobody goes down there.
That was the
with
best
85.
experience, my Villanova experience ever. To get
Right.
a chance to, when you invited me down with the reunion, the '85 team. I think it was the 30th year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And sitting with Coach Mass and all you guys, and you just sitting there, fly on the wall, listen to all the championship stories and the campus stories. I'm so thankful.
I saw the
for
hair on the back of your neck stand.
It
up
was
a few
crazy.
times.
I couldn't believe it. But that, to your point, that was probably one of the best experiences, Villanova experiences that I have. I still appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I had to get clearance from the boss, but
Yeah.
he okayed it. So
So you talk about that same jacket, right? I was getting recruited.
uh-huh.
And I went to a Villanova game. They was playing Georgetown. And I wore my Georgetown starter jacket. And Coach Mass punched me in my chest. And he was like, "Somebody get this kid a Villanova jacket." And I remember they punched me in my chest and he
Yep,
said that.
that
And I
sounds
went
like
with
him.
that jacket, ripped pocket and everything.
So talk about that for a second, guys. The camaraderie, part of your being on your team versus now, and you're around the St. John's program a lot. You talk with Zuby and all these guys. So talk about that and how it's different.
I mean, I love my teammates. I love my teammates that I play with. Most of us are in contact. David Kane is one of my, best friends in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, we stayed for, we were there for 3 or 4 years. We playing together for a long period of time. So we got to know each other, many trips and road trips. And, especially with St. John's, a lot of us are from New York. So we knew about each other before we got to St. John's. And then next thing you know, now we got this bigger quest. So we were always tight. But we were there, that definitely helps when when you have players who've been there for 2 or 3 years,
Right.
4 years that you play with, you grow tight to these guys. So especially when you're going to war in the Big East and you're playing against guys like this,
Right.
you got to be close because you'll get embarrassed. So
Somebody's got to have your back.
yeah, so that was the best thing. Just the camaraderie is the best. It was the best. And I know it's kind of hard right now.
Yeah.
For
yeah.
us, is I was the same thing, right? We played with each other, played against each other, but like Calhoun did a good job of having that golf tournament with the basketball thing in the summertime, right? So for about 10 years, all of us came back. It was every 2 years,
Right.
So we all came back for the golf tournament, played in the charity game. Mohegan's son was sold out in the summertime for that game, so we all were able to, he did a good job of having the party, the golf tournament, the game, so we all saw each other. It's probably a little different now with the younger kids now. I don't know if we're that close to these guys, but we're building it back up. I think the thing that's been lucky for us is, since I've been there, obviously it's only been 3 coaches, right? It's been Calhoun,
Yeah.
Kevin Ollie, who was one of our players. So, we made sure we were in touch with them. Danny's the 3rd coach. Danny's being a little outsider, not necessarily a UConn guy, but
Right.
now he is a UConn guy, right? So we're building it back up. We have a group chat with about 30 of us that we, talk to every 2-3 weeks. Even if it's just to say what's up, hi, make sure everybody's doing all right. But, I think that's the thing with the coaches you have, right? You build that relationship. And I think, obviously the NIL is a little bit different today, but I think there's a reason why we didn't transfer, right? Why we stayed with our coach, why we stayed in our school
Yeah.
back then, because it was more about the coach, the way the coach treated us, and that's why we have the relationships we have with our players, because our coaches made sure we had those relationships.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's when you mentioned you only had the 3 coaches, right? Villanova, I think I told you this the last time you were on with us, is I think we've only had 6 coaches in the last 100 years. It's ridiculous, and that includes maybe 7 now with Coach Willard. But I mean, it was pretty, when somebody goes in, nobody gets fired from there. I think even when Lapp left, he left because he was going to Mass. He didn't leave because he was terminated or anything. I think the first guy to get fired was Neptune. If I'm not mistaken.
Hey,
But
that's a bad list to be on.
yeah, it's a bad list, right?
First and only coach to be
First and
fired.
only, yeah. But
Yeah,
listen,
that's what Red's doing it.
but that's how you keep everything together. But now you guys and people don't appreciate what all you guys have and what Sonny and I had, because until you get to be our age and you start looking back and you go, man, I got friendships for 45 years with these guys, laughing like we're 21-year-old kids. We get on the phone, all we do is laugh and goof on each other and kid around with stuff. It's a special thing. It's a special bond when you go through what we all went through in the Big East. It wasn't easy. Big East was go hard or go home. So it's, you go that through with a group of guys, you have to get close, right?
I mean, you would think. So I'm really cool with Donnie Marshall, right? And
Yeah.
and it's just funny how going to war that time, then you get to play on the same team and
Right.
and in the pros, and just next thing you know, and then you talk about all these stories, and it's just I
Yeah.
know both of these guys experienced that. Just playing in the Big East together, it's something that I don't think will ever go away. It could be 10, 20 years from now, knock on wood,
Right.
older men, but you're just never gonna forget this experience. The playing the Big East is such a special thing. Some people could take it for granted. I will never take it for granted. Just being here right now in this space and with these 2 guys and you guys,
Yeah.
it's just a special thing. Just to be
Yeah.
able to be here with you guys talking.
It's funny because when we interviewed Coach Carnesecca, we were in his kitchen, and I think I've told you the story, right? But then we had such a good time with him. We took him out to the Greek family restaurant for lunch, and he wound up paying. He wouldn't let us pay. He had it. When he walked in, I tried to sneak out and go to the cash
Right,
register and say,
right.
"Hey, remember?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Our coach already took care of it." I said,
Coach already got it.
But
It's like,
but the reason I'm telling you that
99
is
years old.
he said to
Come on,
us,
man.
"We're sitting here with an Orangeman, a Wildcat, and a Redman, and we're laughing and joking." He goes, "But thank goodness there's no Hoyas here," So he was. But we're sitting here with three guys from 3 different programs that went at it tooth and nail, and now everybody's friends, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
It's just the highest level of respect. I'm
Yeah.
proud of these guys.
That's true.
I don't really know Alvin that much. I know Donyell, but I'm so proud, of these guys and and everybody, all the legends that they bring back. I'm such a fan of
Yeah.
the Big East, and to see these guys get honored and Eric earlier, it was
great.
it's a fantastic thing.
So before we go, I got to ask you 2 guys, talk about your podcast for a minute, Al. I know you have, it's pretty new, right?
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find it and what you got going on and what the premise is and all of that stuff.
Well, you put me on the spot because I really don't know, but I know like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and stuff. It's called Check Game. So I have a cousin, and Donyell know my cousin. He lived out in Toronto with me, so he's from a whole different side of the city than I'm from. Different background, different upbringing, projects, hood, streets. I'm middle class, private school. He with the grads. He had a whole different path of life than I did. But we connected just because we're family, and we always just stayed connected. As different worlds that we came from, we just stayed connected. So years later, we just always on the phone, going back and forth, sharing opinions. But he's really an intellectual with a lot of different things. So we just decided to connect, have some content, create some content, have some conversations. Now we're starting to have guests. We've had Katino Mobley, a lot of friends from Philly.
Right.
Rasheed Wallace. We just had Antonio Davis, a former teammate of mine. And just keep having those conversations, really talking about things that you talked about, like being able to be a former athlete or an athlete, be vulnerable, not be afraid to show your emotions, just show that other side, because a lot of people forget the human side of what we all had to go through and what we go through still with different expectations. So there's a lot of conversation centered around that.
Well,
Talk about your show now. I mean, I've seen yours. I saw the one with Walt. I thought that was great. Yeah,
Definitely. Our podcast is called The Storm NYC. This is we entering our first year. Probably had about 30 shows. It's been fantastic. I can't, it's nothing else I could say. It's a St. John centric, New York City based, basketball based, culture based type of podcast. I'm one of the executive producers, the co-host, a partner in the podcast. So it's also a business element to it too, which has been great. We're on all platforms. People can find us everywhere.
Okay.
But it's been a great thing, just reconnecting with legends, basketball people, and just
But
getting the stories.
you do everything in person, right?
Yes.
I mean, you.
So we did the first 6 episodes digitally. First 3 guests were digital, and then 3 out of the 6 first guests was digital, and then all in person. So maybe about 20 in-person interviews.
Right.
It's kind of like a luck thing, but it's just a relationships. Like, me personally, when I speak to somebody, they say they're gonna do it, I take their word, and that's been the best thing. And it's been great because, Walter Berry's texting me every other day, every week now, get in touch with Walter Berry and so many of the other legends. So that's been the biggest thing. And for me, just get these stories from these guys and reconnect with a lot of guys. And
it's a way to keep the locker room going too.
Definitely.
And that's been the reason why I do what I do with the Villanova crew, because that was the funnest part for me. Is
my co-host Tyrone Grant is, oh man, I think he's the star of the show. He's hilarious, and just finding out more stuff about him too. He didn't grow up in the basketball culture like I did.
Right.
So he came in late, like 2 years before he went to St. John's. I don't even know if he was playing organized basketball. So he doesn't look at it the same way I do. So he's quick with his comments. So that's been the best thing too, just doing it with him. But it's been a blast, man. I hope we get to keep going for, however time we can get doing it.
Well, hey, thank you very much, guys, for taking time to hang out with us. I know it's a busy day for you two, being honored tonight. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And good luck to your prospective schools. And we're representing the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 seed here today.
Hey, I want to say this too, Chuck. What you guys doing with this podcast is fantastic, right? I found out about you guys about maybe a year or 2 ago, but the Big East Rewind, you guys got Big East legends. You've had everybody come through to support you guys and give interviews. So I think it's just a fantastic thing. People should not take this for granted. They should, always watch and support, because this is necessary. This is like the beacon of like the Big East, and you guys inspired me to even do a podcast. So I just want to tell you that. Congratulations.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Means a lot. Thank you.
Well, our guests today, Donyell Marshall, Shawnelle Scott, and Alvin Williams. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck to everybody's teams tonight. So it's going to be fun. All right. St. John's is already moving on. So I could rest till tomorrow. All right.
No doubt.